And now back to Foothill Critters on TFPN.
Welcome back to Foothill Critters. I'm Susan Manning with the Feed Barn, here with Margie Blair and Debbie Johnson of Twin Cedar Canine.
Twin Cedar Canine, and then we also have our Second Chance program for unwanted and homeless dogs.
Aww, and tell us who we have here.
This is Luna. Luna's a 3.5-year-old German Shepherd mix. She's actually come through the program twice.
Oh.
They always come with a guarantee. If it doesn't work out, they come back. And
Okay.
Luna came through at 9 months of age. Her original owners couldn't keep her, so they sponsored her in the program, and we got her what we thought was a good home, and they've had her for 3 years, and it just didn't work out. And so she came back, and we're going to add some more training into her and get her socialized back up and hopefully find her a good home.
Great. So she actually is a little unusual. Most of your dogs come from the shelter, don't they?
They either come from Amador or Calaveras.
Okay,
And
terrific.
they're the dogs that, for whatever reason, I won't take any severe aggression dogs, but wild obnoxious is a specialty, separation anxiety, under-socialized, dogs that stand little chance of being adopted due to their behavior. We bring them out to the ranch and provide training and socialization and get them ready to be adopted. So we do Amador and then Calaveras Humane Society.
Okay.
So Calaveras County and Amador County.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into this.
Well, I've always loved dogs as a kid. I've always had dogs. I've always trained my dogs. I was working for the Amador County Sheriff's Office as a dispatcher from 1987 until 2004. And in 1991, my husband was chosen to be a canine handler.
Oh.
And so I helped train up his first canine, Duffy. And I just was hooked in the dog training thing from that time on. And so I started training dogs for no charge for friends and family. And then I thought, you know what? I might be able to make some money doing this. So I started charging and training up just family pets and whatnot, and I trained up 2 service dogs, police service dogs for Brian, and it just really took off. And because of working with the protection dogs and the law enforcement end of it and using their nose to find drugs and people and stuff, I've really specialized in the scent work. I work search and rescue dogs myself, and because of dealing with the bigger, more aggressive dogs, I'm one of the few trainers around that will take on truly bad dogs for their owners and try and rehabilitate those and get them into a better situation.
Right. So you have a business of training dogs at your ranch.
Correct.
Yeah. I know from talking with the Sheriff's Department that you are very well respected for your training as well, Margie. So this is...
Appreciate to hear that.
Yeah. So this is actually your passion as a little side job, or a big side job actually, to rehome these dogs that otherwise would probably be euthanized?
Yeah. Basically how the Second Chance program started, I was still working full-time for the Sheriff's Department, and both Calaveras and Amador were bringing difficult dogs out for temperament tests, and a good percentage of the dogs were failing the tests and were not adoptable and were euthanized.
Right. So you actually go to the shelter to help out. I know you do it with APAL and the heartworm positive dogs, but the shelters will call you and ask you to do a temperament test. Can you kind of tell us what you do with the temperament test?
Yeah, and I will either go to the shelter and test the dogs, or better yet, they will actually bring them out to the ranch where we can expose them in a non-shelter environment. Shelter environment's not going to show you the best of any dog.
Right.
So I want to see them on a neutral territory, and depending on what we're looking for, the very first thing I do is I want to see what kind of personality does the dog have. Is it dependent, independent, fearful, dominant? And I'll sit there, it's kind of boring to watch, but I'll sit there and I'll just stare at the dog for 3 minutes and just see what their body language tells me. And once I've established, whether they're fearful or dominant, shy, outgoing, dependent, independent, then I'll go through and I'll start testing them. Will they let me grab their feet and pull their hair and look in their mouth and just check and see how comfortable they are with having a total stranger mug them, because that's what a kid might do.
Sure.
And then from there we test them with other dogs, and we test them with neutral dogs. I start with the opposite sex, very laid back, easygoing, neutral dog, which is Bugs, who was a previous Second Chance dog.
So Bugs is a testing dog.
She's a test, she earns her keep, being a bait dog. And then we'll bring in another dog, and we just want to read what their body language is. Are they going to be aggressive? Are they afraid of the dog? Are they pushy? And if they pass that, we'll test them with people. We have different types of people approach with different styles. Some might be fairly aggressive and dominant to see if the dog
Sure.
is going to get frightened and react, or is the dog going to take it as a challenge and maybe try and bite them. And depending on how they react, unless they show something that is just like, you know, this is not an adoptable dog, then we're going to go ahead and pull it into the program and see if we can work on the training. And not all have passed. We've had 207 get adopted.
Right.
I've had 217 come through the program. So we've got a very high pass rate.
Oh,
as
absolutely.
far as, and it's tough. I mean, the last thing I want to do is see a beautiful animal, young or old, be put down for something, but I'm not going to put a dangerous dog out in society either.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and this is, she's kind of a return, so she doesn't belong to either county. This is Pippa. As you can see, Pippa's a little overwhelmed. She was an owner surrender to the Amador shelter.
Okay.
And she was very fearful, but in her fearful behavior, she would back up and she'd kind of snarl, and they were afraid that she was going to bite somebody.
Okay.
And she was getting more and more frightened the longer that she was in the shelter, and she was starting to bark and show some fear-aggressive behavior, not dominant-aggressive behavior.
Right.
So we brought her out and started messing with her, and this is the first time she's met Debbie.
Oh,
And,
wow.
you know,
That's
she's
great.
doing really well. I mean,
Yes.
once you know her, she's just a little dynamo.
Yeah.
I had one of my other volunteers take her home for a couple hours, and she's housebroken, very polite in the house. And I could not do this program without all of the volunteers that we have.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have volunteers that take them to the feed barn on that second Saturday for the pet fair.
Right.
They take them out and socialize them. They help me train them at the ranch, putting them through all their obedience. And both of these dogs, believe it or not, have all of their obedience. They heel, sit, down, stay, come, all on leash.
Great.
She got this pretty little focused little heel and a snappy little auto sit. She goes, oh, did you like that?
Oh, so she's
Good
happy
stuff.
to and eager to please.
She's very eager to please.
Yes.
And here we thought, I mean, this little one, I mean, our shelter is so good about not putting dogs down. And
Yes,
I'm sure she
they
would have
really
been,
are.
she would have been safe there, but it probably would have taken a very long time of her staying there because she just doesn't show herself well. I mean,
Sure.
you want to go into a shelter and see the dog that's all wiggly and happy and wanting to come up and be held, and
Right.
she would slink away to the back of the kennel and pee all over herself and curl her little lips up, which kind of looks like a smile to me,
Yeah.
kind of a submissive little smile. And now, out at the ranch, she's got this, well, she's kind of turned it into a double size. I don't usually have the little guys.
Yes.
And there's this little itty-bitty hole that's like this big. And fortunately, the second chance dog that she ran in with, through the little hole,
Was friendly.
didn't think she was a snack coming over.
Yes.
She was in there playing with Hot Rod Lincoln and having a great time. So she has this, what's supposed to be one kennel, but she has
But she has the run of two of them.
She has the run of two of them because she can fit through this little tiny hole.
Yeah.
So-
Now, this is Pippa, right?
Pippa.
Okay. Is she up for adoption?
She is up for adoption at this
Okay.
point. She's spayed. She's current on all of her vaccines.
Mhm.
She's on heartworm prevention. I even took her to the groomer yesterday and had her little nails trimmed because they looked like little parrot talons. They were
Yeah.
so long.
Yeah.
She was good for that.
Now, what would someone do if they were interested in Pippa?
Her adoption would be through Amador County Animal Control.
Okay.
They would need to go there to pay the adoption fee, and if they're a county resident, it's $95. If they're
Okay.
out of county resident, it's $85, and that includes their license for a year.
Oh, that's great.
So she's good to go. We donate all of the training that goes into them. That's just a donation on our part to make these guys adoptable. So her adoption fee, and people wonder why I have different adoption fees. The Calaveras Humane Society dogs, their adoption fee is $200.
Oh.
But they're the ones that are paying for the spay and the neuter,
Sure.
the shots, the heartworm test,
Right.
and everything. I mean, I just brought her vaccines and her heartworm up to date. She was due within like 9 months, so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to get her all done. That was $80 for her 2 vaccines and her heartworm test.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so the Humane Society, their adoption fee is $200, and then the county ones are either $85 or $95, depending on where the people live.
Okay, so Pippa is up for adoption.
She's up for adoption.
From Amador County Animal Control, so they call Animal Control
Either them or me.
or you. What's your number, Margie?
My number is 223-3194.
Okay,
And
perfect.
I would again get them in touch. Well, first they need to come out and meet her,
Oh, yeah.
and I have to
Approve.
to
Yes.
approve of the home. I have a lot of heart
Yes.
that goes into these little guys.
Oh,
And,
absolutely.
You know, it's like when I got her back, and you know, it's really disappointing to get them back and not have them cared for the way I had wanted them to be cared for.
Sure.
So once they meet my approval, then I will meet them down at the shelter.
Okay.
And then they can take care of the adoption that way.
Terrific. Now, tell us, Luna, is Luna up for adoption?
Luna is, I'm still in the evaluation stage, but I am taking inquiries.
Okay.
She's going to need to go to somebody who understands the German Shepherd.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what else is in her. She could have some Husky or Malamute or something in her. She's not a purebred Shepherd, I don't believe. She needs to go to some place where there's going to be a strong, firm leader. She's one that, with me, she is just the perfect dog. She does beautiful obedience. She doesn't, she's fine with all of the other dogs, but if she's not with a strong person, apparently, she would think that this was a snack.
Oh.
And here, we've been here for an hour now, over an hour, and they've been getting along famously.
Sure.
But if she were with somebody who's not going to give her good, solid leadership, I think she might not be a good dog for him.
Okay.
So, and all my dogs, I want them to have a nice, safe, fenced yard. I want them to have access to the house. She's housebroken. She's crate trained. She's very good in the house. You couldn't ask for a nicer dog, but she needs to be with somebody that's strong. So she is available for adoption to the right home. Let's put it that way.
Yep. I think it's important, you obviously fit your training to whatever the dog's temperament is, that you also are very careful, obviously, about trying to match your home and your owner with the temperament of the dog.
Absolutely. You have to. I mean, to make it fair for them and fair for the people that are adopting them, it needs to be a good fit.
Yeah.
And there's some dogs that could fit into any home.
Yeah.
I mean, and they would be fine in any home.
Right.
This is not one of those dogs.
Okay.
She needs to go to somebody where it's firm.
So this is twin-seater canine, dog training, and second chance dog rescue. Thank you so much, Margie, for all you do for the animals. It's amazing, and we appreciate it. And you've saved how many dogs?
207.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you for watching Foothill Critters.
We'll be back with more Foothill Critters right after this break.